Okay, so where we are at, we're on big ideas. Before we begin looking in big ideas, I'm going to introduce this lesson to you. Now, I am using OneNote to take my notes. My notes, you will set up OneNote for yourself here in the future, hopefully next week. Right now, technology said they've been having some glitches with it, and it's not syncing right, so we have not done it yet. When we do, you'll be able to go to OneNote, and any notes that you missed in class, or if you were absent, you'll be able to have my notes and see exactly what it is I took in class. This is also where I'll put a link for today's video. I'll show you later where I put it on Schoology. Okay, first thing is we are in lesson 1.1, powers and exponents. You guys already wrote that down. That's our topic idea. The next important thing is our learning goal. The learning goal tells us what our goal is today, what we're going to be able to do by the end of class. And it says, write and evaluate expressions involving exponents. Now, it's been proven that when we tell you guys and you know what you're working on, you do better. But when I look at that and I say, hey, you will say, I will write and evaluate expressions involving exponents. Who knows what that really means?
Oh.
Few people. Some of us look at it and we're like, evaluate expressions and exponents. Like, some of us might be like, I don't know what that is. Ethan, if you're going to interrupt me, I'm going to be marking you down. Some of us might not understand what that is. So, I like to break it down to you each time. So, right now, I don't want you guys playing on your laptop. Your eyes should be up here. I have a feeling with this group I'm going to have to do something. So, write and evaluate expressions. If we break this down, what our learning goal is telling us today is evaluate means to mainly like solve. And expressions involving exponents, one, we are going to solve expressions like 7 squared. You are going to be able to say 7 squared is 49. Or you are going to have to write that 7 times 7. We learned to rewrite that as 7 squared. That is the goal of today. Where'd that thing go? Just dropped a little plot guy. Tip. There you go. I don't want to lose that.
It's right here.
You see it? Where? Oh, yeah, good job. Is that it?
No.
Oh, man. Look. Okay. Sorry, we had a pause. I found the tip to my pen now. Alright, so this is what we're needing to do for today. The other cool part of my notes is we have this part. Patrick, I need to have headphones off so I know you're listening to me. The second part is the criteria. The criteria tells me, how am I going to prove this? The first one says, I will write products of repeated factors as powers. Mainly, I'm going to be able to take this, and you need to be able to write it as this. Evaluate powers. I need to be able to take this and tell you the answer is this. That is today's goal. When we go to do these notes, I will go right back to it. Don't show me your badge. Alright. First thing, I'm going to put everyone in. I have this in Big Ideas. I went back to my menu. If I want to go to Chapter 1, Lesson 1, what's the first thing I should click on? Alex? Yeah, Chapter 1. Okay. Now where should I go?
Since we're doing the first topic, we should go to section 1.1, powers and exponents.
Perfect. Okay. You guys have already completed your warm-up. And if you see on this left side, everything's listed there. You already did your warm-up. If I clicked on my warm-up, you will see these are the exact same 2 questions you did. When we get good and we're in the flow of things, what will happen is you will show all your work on paper, and then you're going to open up OneNote right away and come in, type in your answer, and say save progress. Because when you do, I can click this check, and it will show me how you did. How many people are getting it, or which question's really tricky. We're not doing that right now because I'm getting code 500, internal server error. So I have to put in a ticket to get that fixed. So we've already done the warm-up. We already went over it. We are now together moving into exploration. So I'm going to send the flip link to you. Look and see if you get it. Click on it. A little black O, it should have popped up on your screen now. Okay, exploration 1. What do you think I should do? I want you guys to understand how to navigate this. What do you think I should do right now? Sky? Yeah, let's click on it. Let's see what it gives us. So it opens up a new window. Looks like it's thinking and loading. It popped a new video again, and I'm going to click on it one more
Work with a
time.
partner. Complete the table. In your own words, describe.
I'm going to block this sound. Alright. Do you guys remember what we said explorations will be? What are we going to do on explorations?
Oh, you're going to teach us to read it. You're going to teach us to read it.
Nope. That's on the lessons.
Oh.
Yep.
You do it as a table group?
Yeah, you're going to work with your table group on this. You are going to see what is it that you can come up with. So, it says work with a partner. Now, before you do, I'm going to pull up a couple parts. First thing, it says repeated factors. Repeated factors. What's the word repeated mean?
Work with a partner. Complete the
Alex, what's it mean?
It just continues.
Yeah, to repeat itself, to continue over and over, right? What about the word factors? What are factors?
Part in an equation of multiplication.
Perfect. It's the numbers of a multiplication. So if I wrote 2 times 3, the numbers 2 and the number 3 are factors. Now if I put these two together, and I said repeated factors, it means a factor that's being repeated. Well, look at this. 10 times 10. 10 is a factor, and 10 was repeated. 4 times 4. 6 times 6. 3 times 3 times 3 times 6. Those are repeated factors. First, what we are going to do is only focus on this second part. Using an exponent. We want to complete the table. So I'm going to go from a repeated factor to something using an exponent, and we are going to call this a power. So, I'm going to give the answer to one of these. Please have your standoff so I know you're paying attention. Okay, which one, A through H, do you want me to solve? C? Okay, I already see that's the one we're doing. I'm not going to explain it, I'm just going to tell you the answer.
I know.
6 times 6.
36.
Oh, are you just interrupted again? Now, since you're interrupted, let's check your answer and see if you're right since you're not listening. 36, I checked my answer. Okay, so do you still want me to give an answer, or do you want to try doing all this? Thank you for being a listener. We're writing this as a power, and I want you to see how I do this. Because you are going to do the same thing. You're going to click in here, and I will write this as 6, and now I need to write an exponent. To make an exponent, it's this button right here. Patrick, will you please take your headphones off and put them on my desk? It's the second time I've asked you to not have them. I'm going to have the x with a little box on it for the square root. And I'm going to put a 2. I am telling you that 6 times 6 is 6 to the second power. I'm going to check my answer, and I see it is right. Nope, I'm not telling you anything else right now. No questions. Nope. So here's what you're going to do. I'm going to give you time right now. You're going to work with the people. You need to be talking So every single person can do this. How many people think they know how I got my answer? Okay, I'll have at least one person at each table group. Now, if you notice, not everyone has their hand up. That's why we are a community. Your job, if you think you know it, talk to the people in your table group, tell them, how do you know what the answer is? And then I want you guys to put the answers in and always go down here and say, check, and see if your answer is right. Okay? Begin. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys, that's because you clicked it more than you were supposed to. All you were supposed to do is click check answer, and then you click show me.
I did.
I know you did, that's what I'm saying. So, that's why we're paying close attention. Here's where I'm a little disappointed. When I walked around, I had a number of people that were not even on this part of the screen. This will be difficult for you. So far, you guys are my 5th class that I've taught this to. My other 4 classes ran with this awesome. Not sure why we're having such trouble. If it's a Friday and it's the end of the day, but I'm really having some people lose focus. I will say I have everything on paper if we need to close our laptops and just do it on paper instead. But this is a lot easier for you. We're going to check this. What I will say is I saw a few groups working great. They gave the answer and they asked, hey, do you want to try the next one? What do you think the next answer is? And the person really wasn't sharing. They said, would you like us to explain how we got our answer to you again? Like, that, to me, is perfect. Obviously, these individuals knew the answer, and they didn't just go and answer them all and be like, psh, I'm done, and sit there and do nothing. They checked with the person that sat next to them. They asked them what their answer was. They didn't just say, here's this answer, here's this answer, here's this answer, this answer. They were trying to help each other. That's where we want to be. So, let's go through these. I'm just going to ask for answers. Raise your hand, and then we'll check it at the end. So, first, 10 times 10. What do you think the answer is, Alex?
10 to the second.
Okay, so I will take 10 to do exponent, x with the little box, second power. How about 4 times 4? So 4 to the second power. I did this one, so what about 10 times 10 times 10?
10 to the 6th power.
10 to the 3rd power. How about 100 times 100 times 100? 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay?
3 to the 4th power.
3 to the 4th power. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Ethan?
4 to the 5th power.
4 to the what?
5th power.
2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Everett?
2 to the power 6.
Alright, before I submit this and check, does anyone think we need to change any of the answers? Really?
Well, I don't think but what is it? Like, do we do the value one?
We'll get to that next. Alright, so I'm going to check my answers. Let's see. Okay, so these are all right. Now the question is, did you participate in your small group and you understand how to do this? Or were you just letting them tell you the answer, or did you just put in what we were? It will come to show. Okay, remember, this first one over here, let's highlight over here, these were repeated factors. I took a factor and I was timesing it by ourselves. When we got over here, we took a repeated factor and we shortened it, because as a mathematician, we like to do work, we like the puzzles, we put a lot of hard work, but we also are kind of lazy, or you could say we're really smart. We don't waste our time. We're too busy solving math problems. That if we can shorten this up any, we will. So instead of writing 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, we just wrote 4 to the 5th, and it went that fast. So this is a way that mathematicians will shorten repeated factors. Okay, we're going to take it to the next step. See if you guys can do this. if I look at the last one and it says value. Okay, so it's still the same line. And value means what? What is a value? First thing that pops in my head is the value menu at McDonald's. But what's that mean? What's value mean? Maddox? It mainly means what is it worth? What's the cost? So if I have repeated factors and it says 10 times 10, well, instead of 10 times 10, I said 10 to the second power. I'm going to tell you that 10 to the second power is worth 100. I'll check it just to make sure I did it right. My answer is correct. Okay, couple more minutes. I'm going to pause again. I want you to rework in your small group. Can you guys figure out the rest of my answers? I'm only going to ask for answers on 3 of these. Okay? So, what is my answer on letter F? 3 to the 4th power. What is the value of 3 to the 4th power?
81.
What about H? 2 to the 6th power. And whoa, I put 644. B. Alright, let's see if I got these right. Alright, so I got these right. What you can do, you don't have to submit this by any means. Let's have you close this and listen to me real quick, because I'm going to have you close this, but I'm going to show you something. We are now going to start the lesson. It sounds like a lot of you are figuring this out. So I'm just going to go through the lesson, just make sure I fill in any details, and we're going to take our notes. If you were gone on a day or sick, we finished exploration. We're not doing exploration 2. I don't really like it. I don't think there's a lot of meaning to it. So I try not to waste your time. We are now in the lesson, so if you would have to, and I went to example 1, this and this is exactly what I'm going to be going over right now. And then you'll do example prompts, which you will do in your notes. These will be in your notes. Then you go in example 2. So if you were gone on a day, this is how you still stay active in our class. For me right now, I want you guys to just close your laptop. Don't close out of Big Ideas, because when you open it up, you can go to homework. And I need you to get your notes out in front of you. Your notes should look like this. They were in your Avid binder. You put them in there. Okay, so here's our notes. First thing I would do on my paper notes if I was you guys, I would write my name down first. Because remember, you have to turn your notes in for a grade. So if you happen to lose them out of your Avid binder and someone finds them, we know they are yours. Class period, we were just going to say 4S, 4th block for a silver day. And the date is 8/23.
Can we put our team on here?
Sure. But well,
It says Falcon.
it says it on the top left. Yes? Real quickly. There's one right here. Alright, so you'll see on our notes. Alright, you'll see in our notes right here, learning target. Write and evaluate expressions involving X parts. That was our goal today. We've talked about it twice now. First thing I want you to do, your notes should match up with mine for the most part. If you need to make a couple changes on it, that's okay. First thing I'd like you to do, let's write down 3 to the 4th power
Are we writing this big?
equals 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. You're writing it in this space right here in your notes. Yes?
Why do you use a dot instead of an X?
Alright, that's a very good question. So instead of an X, I'm using a dot, and the dot isn't down like a decimal point's in the middle. That dot represents multiplication. It's something when you get into algebra, you'll start doing it every time, because X can stand for a variable. You guys don't know what that is yet, we'll get into it. But variables are unknown numbers. For example, I'll show you real fast. I'm going to start doing it this year to introduce like algebra to you. When we say 3 plus 2, and your teacher's like equals blank, or equals a square, or equals a question mark. Well, in algebra, the only thing's different is we say it equals x. Well, what is 3 plus 2? 5. So then you say x equals 5. That's pretty much the basic of algebra. Now, does it get more difficult? Absolutely.
Yes.
For sure.
But that's what it is. Okay. So we have this up here. Oh, I can't talk over you guys. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is we have 3 vocabulary words that are very important to us. They say power, base, and exponent. So, power. I'm going to go like this, and 3 to the 4th power, that is what we call our power. A power, if I ask you to write the power is the product of a repeated multiplication. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, the power is 3 to the 4th. Okay? My second term I'm going to define is base.
Please,
Oh my God.
that is cringy.
We are going to be singing that this whole time. So,
No.
the base. When we're working with repeated factor multiplication, it's all about that base. About that base. Okay? Don't forget the exponent. See, we're going to change the words. So, a base, I'm going to underline the 3. And I'm going to draw an arrow here just to kind of help me show where it is. And on this is how I like to do it. If you want to do yours a little different. But I'm going to say the factor that repeats. Alright, so my base is whatever that factor is that is being repeated. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 is being repeated. That is my base. Exponent. Exponent. I'm going to whip it all over there. This is my exponent. And an exponent is number of repeated factors. I would. Now, to be honest with you, vocabulary, ladies, are we focused on math or are we talking about other things?
They are talking about
Well, let's get us focused. I got a feeling you are too. I can split you 4 up. That's great. We can do that. I can put 1 desk there, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 in the middle. But right now, you guys are being very disrespectful, and it's upsetting me, and you're wasting your rest of your class's time. Our vocabulary is important enough that we are going to end up using it to play a game. Not today, but we'll get to them where we'll do some different activities and games where you have to know your vocab. Yes?
What does it say on that green line?
The green line says number of repeated factors. Maybe I'll do it this way. I'll rewrite it so you can see it a little bit better. So, number of repeated factors. So how many times is our base repeated? When I look here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 became our base. Now, I like to do this all neat when I do my notes. I'm going to come back over and I'm going to go 3 to the 4th. And then I'm just going to label it all again. I like to do this. If you don't, I do just because I have the writing there. That's base. That's exponent. Okay, I don't feel like this is going to take us long, so make sure you follow along with us. Example 1. Right now, I'm going to erase this from mine. We are going to start with this very first checking point, this criteria. It says, write products of repeated factors as powers. We already identified what repeated factors are. Can anyone give me any example of a repeated factor?
Like up there it says 7 2. The 7 is repeated.
Close. Alex?
Would it be the 7 times 7?
Good. That's a repeated factor. 7 times 7. That's a repeated factor with multiplication. So, I'm going to take repeated factors and I want to write them as powers. Can anyone give me an example of any powers?
7 to the power
7 to the power of 2. 13 to the power of 67. 8 to the power of 4. Those are all powers. So we're going to take a repeated factor and we're going to write it as a power. So, on example 1, it says 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. Because 7 is the factor. We see that that's the base that's being repeated over and over. And it was repeated 5 times. Its exponent is 5. To draw this out very easy, I repeated the number 7. So that becomes the base. All about that base. No, you gotta be like, it's all about the base, Where's the exponent? See?
That doesn't go.
Oh, it's magical.
Where's the
So-
no, where's the opponent?
Where's the punch?
Opponent
Where's
of
the
X.
opponent? So, Megan's gonna give me a call and be like, oh my gosh, Mr. Scissors, can I steal that? I'm like, nope, trademark.
Who's Megan?
Megan Trainor, she's the one that sings the song.
Oh! Got it.
Now, okay, now we have to do our exponent. So, the repeated factor that became our base was 7. And then I simply just count. How many times did I repeat 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It becomes 7 to the 5th power. I want you to look, and let's see if we can do number 1 together. I have 2 times 2 times 2. Raising your hand, who can tell me what is going to become my base? My base. Marley, what's my base? 2. Okay. Marley, what will be my exponent? Awesome. My answer is 2 to the 3rd power. So, Marley, great job. Okay, we're going to do a little celebration thing, and I'll show you how we do it. This one, we're going to do 2 claps and a Ric Flair, because Marley participated and tried. Ric Flair, if anyone knows, the Royals used this for a while. Famous wrestler. He always goes, woo! So when I count to 3, we do 1, 2, 3, and you go, clap, clap, woo. Okay? Alright, so for Marley, 2 claps and Ric Flair. 1, 2, 3. Alright, number 2. Oh, doesn't mean another talking. Number 2. 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. Who can tell me what was my base? Sky. The base is 6. It is never repeated. Sky, what is the exponent?
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, this one is 6 to the 6th power. We're going to do 2 claps and a girl. 1, 2, 3.
Girl.
Number 3, 15 times 15 times 15 times 15. Patrick, what would be my base?
15.
15 is the factor that is repeating. Patrick, what would be my exponent?
4.
4. Okay, we're going to give Patrick 2 claps and a Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's the other wrestler that always said brother. So when we do Hulk Hogan, we go, that a boy, brother.
Oh, no.
1, 2, 3.
Attaboy, brother!
Alright, number 4. 20 times 20 times 20 times 20 times 20 times 20 times 20. What is my base? Beth?
20.
Oh, friends, when I ask someone else a question, please do not shout it out to them or tell them. That steals it. That's you telling them, hey, I don't think you're smart enough to know this. I'll tell them to. Let them think. Okay, Beth, what is my exponent?
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 20 to the 7th power. We'll give her a 2 claps and a whoop whoop. Alright. 1, 2, 3.
Jeez.
Real quick. Oh, we can't do this if we get too crazy with it. Alright. Real quick on this, try it. We were taking these and we were going from repeated multiplication to a power. I want to really drive this home. So, if you want to write just on the side of your notes real quick, if you want to do this, you can. Repeated multiplication. Okay, Everett and Ethan, you guys need to go somewhere else. Hey, you guys are just being silly. You're not being focused on our math. Okay, who can give me an example of a repeated multiplication?
2 times 2 times 2.
Don't make them any longer than 5 for right now, because I don't want to write too much. I need another one.
6 times 6 times 6.
5 times 5 times 5.
Do they all have to be 3?
No, I think it's times 5. Times 5.
Alright. Now, I'm going to stop there. And that was repeated multiplication. And then we wanted to write them down as power. Who can give me an example of a power?
Are we supposed to be writing this?
If you choose to, I'll help you in your notes. Marley? 5 to the 4th power. Ethan?
2 to the 3rd power.
6 to the 3rd power. Dre?
0 to the 0th power.
Ooh, 0 to the 0 power. Ooh, I'm going to change this one.
Oh, shit.
There's a reason. You brought up something amazing that we're not even to yet. Special one.
That's a 0.
5 to the 0 power. What is it worth? Ethan?
0.
No.
What?
It's 5. Actually,
Oh!
I forget this 5.
No.
What?
It's not worth 0. It's not worth 5.
1.
I was just about
What?
to say 1.
What? I need to. This is 1 time.
Why? Because
Anything to the 0 power. Any number. 5,386 to the 0th power is 1. Okay? There is, right now, we're not going to spend the whole time explaining it. You prove it by like saying 5 to the 10th power, 5 to the 9th. If I subtract them, what would I be left? And you get left with just 1. Yes.
So, if you're doing 5 times 0.
Oh, but we're not doing 5 times 0, are we? when we have an exponent, that's a great question. When we did these exponents, and I did 2 to the 3rd power, do I do 2 times 3?
No.
No. I do 2 times 2 times 2.
Writing it out, 5 is
No. I do 5 times 1 is 5. When I write out 5 to the 0th power, I'm not even writing out a 5. But I'm having one group. So I get 1. Yes?
So, I actually, during life bedtime, I did the homework because...
Saw that because you did some of it wrong. Which might affect your grade. That's why we don't work ahead. Usually I have it set on a time limit. You'll have to see. I actually already resubmitted it to you. So it's no longer in the grade book. Otherwise you don't want that grade. Alright, so real quick. I need you to take your fist, put it in front of you. Right in front of your chest. You don't have to show it to everyone. We have just completed this first criteria. Write products as repeated factors. How confident are you right now if I was to write any repeated factor? Remember what that is?
Yes.
Right here. If I wrote any repeated factor down, I'm not trying to trick you or anything, I'm just being straight with you. How confident are you that you would get the right answer? You can write as a power. Nope, not raise your hand. Fist in front of you. You don't have to show people. I don't want you looking around. If you think I can definitely do it, I want you to put a 3 in front of you. If you think I can do it, you might have to help me just a little bit. I need a 2. I'm really confused. A 1. If you leave it as a fist, it means I have no idea what we were even doing. Okay? Should see 5. It's 3, I got it. 2 with a little bit of help. 1, a lot of help. Fist, I don't really get it at all. Real quick, I'm just going to tell you once I see it, I'll tell you put it away. Leon, how you doing? Let me see, where are you at on this? Do you totally get this? Not. You can do it with a little bit of help. You don't get it at all. Yeah. Alright, everyone put it down. Okay. Feel pretty confident that we can put this away? So we got it?
Yeah.
We're going to check that. Let's test you real quick. Do not shout this out. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Paying full attention. On this one. Leon. You focus in? I'm going to call on you now because I don't know if you're really paying attention, bud. On. Oh, up here, buddy. On 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. What is my repeated factor? 3. 3's been repeated. So that means it's now my base. How many times did 3 get repeated? So that means it is my exponent. That is your answer. That's how we go from repeated multiplication to a power. Okay. We're going to move on to example 2. Now, example 2, we're on our second criteria of success. Evaluate powers. Evaluate means to solve the powers. We remember what powers are. Powers are 5 to the 4th, 6 to the 3rd, 5 to the 0, 2 to the 3rd. Now, to do this on your homework today. On your homework, if you get example 1, 2 times 2 times 2, you don't have to show any work. You can just put your answer. 2 to the 3rd. 15 times 15 times 15 times 15, you can just put 15 to the 4th. Okay? However, when you get to example 2, I need you to do some work. When it says 7 squared, or 7 to the 2nd power, the first thing you're going to do is on your paper, you're going to write out, you're going to go from a power to repeated multiplication, to repeated factor. On 7 squared, what is my base? What number is my base? The 7 or 2? You got a 50-50 shot. Marley?
7.
The 7 is. So I'm going to write down 7. My exponent says 2. which tells me I'm going to write down 7 twice. 7 times, I about made it 2. 7 times 7. That's all you have to do. That's step 1. I went from a power, I rewrote it as multiplication. You have to show that to me. Then, you may use your calculator if you want. You can show work if you want. But you just solve. 7 times 7 is 49. That is how we got our answer. Dre, please put that away and focus on me. That is how we get our answer 49. They did this one. 5 to the 3rd power. So you see, they went 5 was my base, and 3 was my exponent. So they did 5 times 5 times 5. If I use the calculator, 5 times 5 times 5 would give me 125. You could show your work, which is fine. And I could have done 5 times 5 is 25. And then 25 times 5 is still 125. Alright, we're going to do these next 4. Let's see if you guys get it. Make sure you're writing these down in your notes. And then I got a bonus trick question for you. And we'll throw the infinity ball at you. So, first one. On number 5. Raise your hand. What do you think on 6 to the 3rd power? What is my base? Maddox? Nope. Try it again. It's the 6. What is the repeated multiplication problem I should write out, Maddox?
6. Wait.
Yep.
Yeah, 6 times 6 times 6.
And Maddox, what is... Everyone else, you should be checking Maddox, see if he gets it wrong. Keep your calculator if you need. What is 6 times 6 times 6?
6, well, 6 times 6 is 22, so...
Oh.
Wait, no, wait.
36.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, use your calculator if you need to, buddy. Okay, what's 36 times 6?
It's 2 inches.
Awesome. Alright, let's give Maddox 2 claps and a cowboy. Cowboy goes, yeah!
Oh, I can do
1, 2, 3.
Yeah!
Oh, no, we don't shout or we can't do it. Mr. Bradley's in his class and Ms. Norwell. We just do it kind of soft. We don't have to yell. We'll get in trouble. Number 6. 9 squared. What will be my repeated factor multiplication? Patrick?
18.
Nope. Hold on. What's the multiplication problem?
9. 9 times 2.
Oh, little mistake.
9 times 9.
Good. Now I'm going to write up what you said real quick, okay? Just to show. This is a good learning process. Hopefully everyone's paying attention because this is the number 1 mistake made by students. 9 to the 2nd power, he said 9 times 2. Now the way we check ourselves is 9 being repeated? No, because look up here. See how we see 7 times 7, 2 times 2 times 2, 6 times 6, and those get repeated? When I do this, when I write it out, do I have a repeated factor? No, I don't have 9 times 2. 9 times 2, well, that just means 18. That does not mean that. So, Patrick, let's try it again. What is my base on 9 to the 2nd power?
9 times 9.
So 9 is, and I repeat it twice. What is 9 times 9?
81.
Very good. 81. Let's give him a quiet 2 claps and a ooh. 1, 2, 3. Number 7, 3 to the 4th power. I want to finish this in 9 minutes, so you have 10 minutes to do your homework. Okay? Everett, what would be my repeated multiplication?
So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3.
Okay, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. What is the value of that repeated multiplication?
81.
It is
Good job.
81.
Good job.
You just kind of clap for money, so we're not going to do it. 18 squared.
What?
What is my repeated multiplication? Coming to you, buddy, Chris. Okay, 18 squared. What would be the repeated multiplication?
18 times 8.
Awesome job. And I expect you to do this in your head. What's 18 times 18? I'm just joking. You can do that good.
It's
324 is correct.
It's your hand.
Alright, before we go to the next part, once again, we're going back to evaluating products. Fist. Front of your chest.
3.
3, 2, 1, fist. What do you are? Number 3 is I totally got it. I can evaluate powers.
On your chest.
Everett. How confident are you doing this one? You have it? Here you go. Good. Alright. I'm going to check this one off. Now, to be honest, we've pretty much cleared everything for today. Our goal was to write and evaluate expressions involving exponents. We said I can write products of repeated powers. That was example 1. And you guys said I can do that. I identified the base with the exponent. And you went to the other one, evaluating a power. I take the power, I rewrite it as repeated multiplication, and I solve it. You're real close to having to get a mark, buddy. Last thing, I want you to turn your page in your notes to this back page. We have nothing on it. Okay, we're going to add one thing that's going to help you. We have one little bonus part we have to do. On here, I want you to write down 1 to the second power, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared. We're going to go all the way to 10.
I didn't think.
Okay, on your notes, Patrick, put that away. Get your notes out still, bud. We're still working. I want us to write once. It's on the back of your notes. You'll see you have that blank page. So I'm going to write down 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared, 7 squared, 8 squared, 9 squared, 10 squared. Yep, to the power of 2. Now, we are talking about a perfect square. Okay? Now, I'm going to scroll back up to notes while you're writing. And it said a perfect square. Determine if a number is a perfect square. To be a perfect square, you have to have two numbers multiplied by each other to give you that given number. So like when they ask about, is 64 a perfect square? Is 64 a perfect square? The answer is yes, because 8 squared. If I had 8 squared, and I wrote it as repeated multiplication, that's 8 times 8. The same number repeated only twice, and 8 times 8 is 64. Okay, they asked me about 20. Is 20 a perfect square? No. 20 is not. Why? I don't believe you. I think it is. How can you prove to me it's not a perfect square? Alex?
Because the two numbers can.
Well, I think,
10 times 2.
Ooh, I got you.
yeah, 10 times 2 is 20.
But. Oh! Two numbers multiply can't be squared.
10 times 2 does.
The same number.
Oh, two of the same numbers. I think you can. I don't believe it. I think there are two whole numbers.
Oh, so like, there's if like our graph right here, if you times every number by itself, like every number, if you try every number 1 through, you can even
Boys,
try 1
put the
through
calculator away and please pay attention.
10. Knowing that 10 plus 10 equals 20, then I would only go up to 10. You can try every number squared, and none of them would equal that.
So when I prove myself and I explain it, Everett, please focus. And I do this, do I have to write down every single one of those?
No, you could go back if we fill this out now. You could go back at your graph and look.
Which ones would I look for though?
You would look just for the value.
Which
Or
one?
you would- what do you mean which one?
How do I prove this? Do I have to write down the value? Do I have to write down all the other perfect squares?
No.
So what would I be able to write down? Girls in the back, I hope you're following along with this.
We are.
How could I shorten this up? Yeah?
Okay, so you could basically just say that no number times itself gets to 20 because I went through 1 through 5 because 5 times 5 equals 25.
Okay, you're getting
And
that.
that's all you got.
Okay, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because 5 times 5 is 25, and that's bigger than 20. What other number do I have to check? 4 times 4. Hey, what's up? Which is 16.
Delivery from you.
How can I get that?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alright, so I can then say 4 times 4. If 4 times 4 is less than 20, do I have to check 3 times 3 or 2 times 2?
No.
No, because those are even smaller. So when we prove this, all you have to do is find the ones in the middle. No, 20 is not a perfect square because 4 times 4 is 16, which is less than 20. And the next factor is 5. But 5 times 5 is 25, which is greater than 20. Real quick, we're going to do this. This will help you on your homework. 1 times 1. What I want you to tell me is, 1 squared. I want you to say 1 times 1, and that equals 1. Okay, 2 squared. What would that repeated factor be? And what is the answer? Patrick?
The repeated factor would be 2 times 2.
And what's it going to equal?
4.
Perfect. 3 squared.
6.
What's the repeated multiplication?
9.
What's the repeated multiplication?
3 times 3.
3 times 3 is, there you go, now 9. 4 squared. Marley,
16.
what's the repeated multiplication? Good. 5 squared. Ethan, what's the multiplication? 6 squared.
Me.
6 times 6. Oh, wait.
7 squared.
7 times 7 equals 49.
8 squared. Sky.
8 times 8 equals 6.
9 squared.
81.
What's the multiplication?
9 times 9.
And 10 squared.
10 times 10.
Alright. Are these all of the perfect squares?
Yes.
Yes.
These are perfect squares. Are they all of them?
No.
There's a limited amount. I can take any number, and if I times it by itself, the product, that answer, is a perfect square. Alright. I'm going to hand out a paper. We have 9 minutes. I'm going to get you started on your homework. So, I need everyone to open up Big Ideas. Look at me first before you go there. Easiest way, click on this. Up. Stop what you're doing. Because I don't want to have to wait for people. Pay attention real quick. We're wasting your work time. Still wasting our work time because I got people not doing what I'm asking them to. Still waiting on people that are doing whatever they want to be doing. You're wasting your work time. As long as you guys are okay with someone else doing what they want to, and you have more homework, that's okay with you, I guess. All eyes should be up here. I'm still waiting on about 3 people. Okay, I would click those settings. this drop down comes. I click on assignments, chapter 1, lesson 1. Click on it, and then hit start. Get to there right now while I pass out paper. Yes?
Thank you.
I'm going to be giving you answers, so I hope you're following along. Oh, you got one? Oh, make sure you put your notes back in your Avid binder. And
What did we write down when we talked about after all?
that's what we're going to go over. Alright, I'm going to pause our video because we're done.